Hello, this is Chris, and I am back again with a brand new trailer reaction video, and today we're going into the realms of TV. This is, of course, Game of Thrones. You can see the title below. Game of Thrones Season 8 official tease, Crypts of Winterfell. There have been a few trailers that have come out teasing Game of Thrones Season 8. They've been very short little character ones, or maybe they're replaying footage that we've seen from previous series in order to generate hype for the new series. But as far as I'm concerned, I believe that this is the first, proper new look at the new season of Game of Thrones. If you've been following our channel for a long time, you know that everyone on the channel, myself included, are massive Game of Thrones fans. We've done reviews on Season 6 and Season 7, I believe. I don't think we did reviews on the previous series. But yeah, we did weekly reviews on each of the episodes, and we'll be doing exactly the same for Season 8. This is the big one. This is the finale. This is the end of Game of Thrones. Well, technically not the end of Game of Thrones as we know it. I think they've already confirmed that they're going to be doing 5 different prequel series on Game of Thrones, with the first one already confirmed. I think it's called The Long Night, unofficially. I think George R.R. Martin got into some trouble for releasing that title onto Twitter, and he's had to kind of backpedal. So Game of Thrones is going to be here to stay. Fantasy TV is also going to be here to stay. They've also confirmed Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, so Game of Thrones has kind of started this fantasy kick, certainly in the TV realm again, which is awesome, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this all pans out. Being a reader of the books, I've read all of the books so far, and if you've also read the books, if you're a fan of the books, you also know how long we have had to wait, and continue to wait, for Book 6 and Book 7, The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. Whether those books are ever going to come out, I don't know at this point. And in all honesty, once this is all said and done, Game of Thrones, the TV series, and the story's been told, even though the series has kind of done its own thing and it's very much a fan fiction at this point, the ending will be told. Will I then care to go back to Book 6 and Book 7? And because it's been so long, it means I'm going to have to start at Book 1 and read them all again. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to talk much more about my thoughts on Game of Thrones, the TV series, as well as this trailer after I've got done watching it. So we're going to do exactly that now. We're going to watch the trailer together. I'm going to talk much more about it afterwards. But I am excited. I want to see how it all pans out. So I'm going to click play now. Feels good hearing that theme again.
All this horror that's come to my family. It's all because I couldn't love a motherless child.
Are we going to get zombie Catelyn Stark finally in this series? Probably not.
You are a Stark.
Yes.
You might not have my name, but you have my blood.
Is this going to be a vision by Bran, or is this just like an artsy, fartsy trailer they've done? The Night King? Is it the Night King? Come on. Oh, okay. April 14th. Okay, not too long to wait. I knew it was April sometime, but it's nice to get an actual date on the first episode coming out. Yeah, okay, so that is our trailer. Very cryptic, and this, I guarantee this footage isn't going to be like any of the series or anything like that. This is just sort of setting the mood and the tone. But it's very interesting, though. I mean, if we look at all the surviving Stark kids, we've got, Jon Snow, we've got Sansa, we've got Arya, and we've got Bran. Now, Bran hasn't featured in this one. Or has he? I've seen a lot of theories out there saying that the Night King is actually Bran. I don't know whether I like that theory. I think people are reaching a little bit in terms of that. But, it's a theory that people have come up with. The whole fact that he can essentially time travel or transmit his consciousness into different iterations and sort of appear throughout time. It's entirely possible. Anything's possible at this stage. So I don't know whether I believe that theory myself, but we'll have to wait and see once it all comes out. But I like the feeling of unity that this is, it's almost like it's coming full circle. You see the statues of Catelyn and Ned Stark, and it really feels like everything's coming together. The Starks are reunited, and, they're going to be battling against the White Walkers, essentially, as well as everyone else in the realm. I promised that I was going to sort of like talk about the other series of Game of Thrones and everything like that. Now, I love Game of Thrones, but I hated Season 7 with a passion. I thought Season 7 was the weakest season that we've had so far. In terms of action spectacle, it was by far probably one of the best. Like, I'm not going to lie, like, the action was very good. But the writing was incredibly lazy. I'd rank it kind of up there with Season 5. Although Season 5 at least still had some parts that it was tying back to the book. Season 7 just felt completely fanfiction, and I think a lot of the problem with that series was the fact that they shrank it down from a 10-episode series to... What was it? Was it a 6-episode series? A 7-episode series? I can't even remember. But events just sort of happened. There was no time. There was no sense of geographical distance. The one that comes to mind the most was where Jon Snow and Tormund and like the group of people he took beyond the wall are like stranded on that frozen island, and he makes Gendry run back to the wall, send a raven to Daenerys, which would then have to fly all the way down to Daenerys. She would then have to fly all the way up from Dragonstone on dragons to get there, and it happened within like a couple of hours in between. Stuff like that. And I think that if you had have had a 10-episode series, you would have had more of those filler episodes potentially, but it would have allowed time for events to naturally happen. The writing in Season 7 felt like we need this to happen, this to happen, this to happen, and they didn't care about the connective tissue. They just... People want to see dragons and White Walkers and explosions and all that stuff, and that's really all Season 7 felt like. Another big reason I didn't like Season 7 was the handling of Littlefinger's character. It felt like his character had been treading water for almost two and a half series now. Littlefinger being my favourite character, I kept thinking, he's going to have a plan. Of course he's going to have a plan. Like, he's 1,000 steps ahead of everyone else. And they just seemed like they really nerfed his character. They made him like a dumb idiot of a character, which is not what his character was, and was not what his character had been set up to be from previous series when they were, following the books a lot more and following the writing and characterization a lot closer than perhaps they have in later seasons. But I am still looking forward to Season 8, like I do love Game of Thrones. Like, there's been a couple of series along the way where I've kind of not liked it perhaps as much as I wish I could have, or there's been some decisions where they've deviated from the books, mostly the entire like Dornish plot line, which I will never forgive Game of Thrones for, and I really wish we could have seen that brought to justice onto the screen, because that's some of my favourite stuff in the books. Like with Doran Martell and the Sand Snakes and everything like that. Sadly, the series didn't do a very good job with that. But I'm just looking forward to seeing how this pans out. Is someone going to get the throne at the end? Is it going to be a nice fairy tale ending like Lord of the Rings, where, with like King Aragorn? Are we going to have King Jon Snow in this? Or is it going to be left open-ended and no one's going to get the throne? Is everyone going to kind of kill themselves? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in this series. And the fact that it has moved so far past the books makes it very interesting for me now, even because I don't know where it's going. Like, no one knows where it's going at this point, and that's very interesting in that everyone's on the same wavelength now. For the first, 4 to 5 series, if you'd been a book reader, then you knew everything that was going to happen, more or less, although the show changed a lot of things. I don't understand why they had the year gap, though. Last year, like, to have a year without Game of Thrones makes it very strange suddenly jumping into this one. There's a fraction of the amount of episodes. I think there's only like is it like 4 or 5 episodes in this series coming out? But I've heard that each of those episodes is going to be like an hour and a half or possibly 2 hours, something like that. Maybe they needed that year off to focus on the post-production. If the battle scenes are going to be on like Lord of the Rings scale, for example, they probably need more time to work on post-production and get all that looking as good as it possibly can, especially if they are going to be multiple battle scenes, not just one big battle. If there's going to be a battle scene like every single episode, because there are so many factions that we're dealing with in Game of Thrones, then maybe they needed to take that time. I don't think it would have been a case of actor schedules. I think it's probably more or less going to be the fact, and maybe that's why they shrunk the amount of episodes down in Season 7, was to get the you know, to save all their budget essentially for the massive amount of post-production and special effects work that will have to go into it. But yeah, I guess that'll do it for my reaction to Game of Thrones Season 8 official tease, Crypts of Winterfell. Because they've given it that subtitle, I expect that we're going to get a whole series of these teaser trailers with all like the different groups of people and everything like that. I am probably going to have to do a Game of Thrones marathon at some point to catch up with the show. Obviously, I know what happens. Like, I've read the books, I've watched the series multiple times, but I only watched Season 7 once because it really did rub me up the wrong way. So maybe I'll have to dip back into that and give it another watch, or maybe I'll just watch like a recap on YouTube or something like that. But yeah, that'll do it for my reaction video. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and let me know what you thought of this trailer. Are you looking forward to Game of Thrones Season 8? How do you think it'll end? Any speculation? What did you think of previous series? Are you a book reader? Anything Game of Thrones related at all, please do let us know. As I said, when this comes out in April, we will have reviews on every single episode. We do our big in-depth analysis, discussion videos, and it's always good fun. In the meantime, if you're a movie fan, we are ramping up to Oscar season, so we'll be upping the amount of movie reviews. There'll be more trailer reactions from me as well. So please hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon as well so you get notified every time we bring out some new content. That'll do it for me for right now, and until the next video, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.